Greetings, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Comic Book Geezers. Welcome to another episode of Inside the Cover. Today, we're going to take a look at issue number 2 of Marvel Feature Presents. This is a Marvel Feature, I believe it was volume 2. Red Sonja, She-Devil with a Sword. Of course, all new from the creator of Conan, Robert E. Howard, right? Red Sonja, who prior to getting her own run in both Marvel Feature and the actual Red Sonja comic would appear in Conan every so often, right? She, I think, about a handful of appearances before she actually debuted with her own stuff. So this is issue number 2 of Marvel Feature. We've got Bruce Jones, writer. Frank Thorne, the great Frank Thorne, we just lost a year or so ago, drew the art. Roy Thomas, editor, featuring the heroine created by Robert E. Howard. So here we've got Red Sonja in the woods, all dressed in chainmail, right? Looking all sorts of hot with the flowing red hair. She comes across this guy taking a nap out in the woods, right? It's not unusual to dream. We all do nightly. I'd rather rarer to dream of beautiful scarlet-haired women whose flashing green eyes and lithesome form seems real enough to touch. Rather still is it to open one's eyes to the soft light of dawn, and doing so awaken to your dreams. And she's basically over him with a sword to him, says, "Lie still, pig. That's a Hyrcanian asp coiled atop your chest." He's got a snake on his chest. "It's sleeping now, but should you so much as alter the rhythm of your breath, rest quietly now, while Red Sonja relieves you of all this bothersome loot you've stolen. By Erlich, you've done well for yourself, brigand. Do you specialize in noblemen, brigand, or do the gods merely smile on you of late?" So she basically tells him, it's like, if you stay here lay down still for a while, the snake will eventually move off your chest. And in the meantime, I'm going to take this cool golden key, whatever this is. This might be worth something. So she steals his loot and starts to turn away, and then as she does so, she says, "Oh, and don't fret about the scaly friend there. It's only a garter snake." So he's like, "Damn it," because he thought it was obviously a poisonous snake, right? So, but he does tell her, he goes, "Leave the key." He goes, "Take all the rest. I'll not follow you. Only leave that necklace." She goes, "A solid gold key to fit a solid gold lock, perhaps. I think it would be far safer in here than with you." And she puts it in her little bodice there, and then she goes off and she goes to the next village. And she starts showing, she meets up with a woman there who she kind of knows, shows the key. The woman's like, "Oh no, cast away this charm, Sonja. It is demon spawn, an evil thing. The name Balak," which I guess is inscribed in it or something, "the name Balak is steeped in dread in the village since before I came here. Be rid of it, Sonja, I beg of you." So, but she's like, "Nah, I'm not going to do that." So basically, this other guy comes in. He goes, "Did you ride in on a bay mare this night, laden with bulging knapsack? What of it?" "Well, both the mare and sack are clattering off down the road, just now towards the hills." So she's like, "Damn, someone stole my horse and stole all the goods," right? So she grabs his horse. She goes and leaves after this dude. Okay. She catches up to him. He's got her sword. He goes and swings the sword. She notices he's not very good. So then he goes, of course, he hits a tree branch, gets knocked off, and she knows that he's young and he's a cripple. He's got a wooden leg, right? So she goes and captures him. They go to another town, and they come upon this little house, or maybe it's an ale house, right? Like a bar or a tavern like they call back in the day, and they notice that everybody is dead in there. Actually, no. That's the. She goes. I'm sorry. She goes back to the tavern where she just was at. She knows the owner, and she's dead. Okay. And she goes back outside, and so her companion here, the young kid who she kind of knocked out or got knocked himself out. "Feeling better, lad? Give me back my sword, and I'll show you soon enough, wench." She goes, "High-sounding talk from one so young. When we reach Gromlick's band, you'll soon learn what a cripple can do." And she goes, "I made no mention of your affliction. It's your swordsmanship that's lacking. Perhaps I could teach you." He goes, "Ha, and pray tell me, what could I learn from a woman? More than those poor dogs, I'd hope to think." She goes, "Gromlick, it's Gromlick's band. They're surrounded by a bunch of Picts. And of course, if you follow the Conan comic, Picts they're always fighting the Picts, Picts. She goes, well, take then your sword, haughty thief, while Red Sonja gives you your first lesson. Look up, dogs. Behold, the sword is your master, Red Sonja of Harkania. Bell's breath, it's Duncan. And he's brought a savior from hell. So now they go and they join the fight with Duncan's, the group that he's with. And they go and they slay all of the Picts that are there. Red Sonja in action. Very good artwork from Frank Thorne here. Perfect for this comic. And then they realize that this one guy down here is actually Duncan's father. Okay. So, the secret of teaching yourself music. Why not? For only $4.99. All right, so here she's she's having a discussion with Duncan again, and he's obviously got it in for her, right? She goes, so he sneaks up on her in camp, and she goes, come for another lesson, Duncan? It's like, you'd like that, wouldn't you? Another chance to show off in front of my father. You're very good when it comes to killing Picts who should never have wandered so far from the savage homeland in the first place. She goes, still the sassy tongue, eh? And he says, one more thing puzzles me. However, how is it a woman of such obvious physical development spends all her time chafing it in chainmail and parading around the country like a man? Have you always been this confused about your sex? Interesting. This is what, 1975, right? Interesting discussion here. And she goes, are you all through now? He goes, perhaps it isn't confusion at all. Perhaps your father wanted a son, and you're determined to be one. Or did you gut him with your sword too? And she gets pissed. She goes, by Erlich. And he goes, that's right. Swear like a man. Run me through like a man. Perhaps if you're lucky someday, the great god Mitra will make you a man. If I weren't a cripple, you could kill me instantly without feeling any less feral about it. Good night, Red Sonja. Father comes up. He goes, I apologize for both of us. He is a good lad, but bitter over that cursed leg. What about you, Gromlich? Do you think a woman should wear chainmail? And he goes, I think a woman's thoughts are her own, to do with as she will. You needn't justify them for the likes of a sharp-tongued stripling. She goes, I wonder. I made a vow once that no man would touch me save he that beats me in battle. Perhaps it was a stupid vow made by a stupid young girl. Leave me now, Gromlich. I would be alone in my thoughts. Aye. Talk to him, Sonja. He is a good lad. Perhaps a woman can succeed where her father has failed. He fishes the northeast stream each day before sunup. I would be grateful. And of course, she's sitting there like, God, what can I possibly say to this kid, right? So the next morning, she goes down by the stream, tries to talk some sense into him. Okay. And he basically tries to show her, that he's no boy, and even a cripple can be a whole man. So he goes and grabs her and kisses her, right? And then, of course, the father shows up from the camp, and they've all been killed. So, of course, the son is like, whoever did this will die by my sword. And she's like, no, this is not your fight. So she kind of kicks him, knocks him out. And she goes, this is me. They're obviously after me because I stole the key, right? So she takes off. She goes and finds camp for the night. And then she sees that Duncan comes walking up. And she's like, well, something's wrong with him. And notices that he, too, has been killed, put on a stake there. And she's like, all right, this guy's whoever did this is going to pay, what prize could be worth the slaughter of so many people? But then she notices that all of the little ponds and lakes that she's going in her travels, all the water has been poisoned and tainted, right? So everywhere she goes, so obviously her and the horse now are dragging day after day, night after night. Nothing to drink, because this guy seems to be one step ahead of her. Then the horse keels over, probably drank the tainted water. She's like, I can't even eat the horse because probably he drank the poisoned water. So then, of course, she's kind of ready to drop. She passes out. She goes, I'm the cause of all this death. They go to another village. Everybody's dead there. And she goes, it's all my fault. She passes out. She wakes up, and there is a poisonous coral snake on her. But then it starts to rain. And she's like, all right, a little bit of rain. And then, of course, she meets the guy who was the cause of all this, the guy who's after her to get that gold key. And he goes, thirsty, Red Sonja? And then he goes, look well before you die, Red Sonja Hyrcania. Know the face of Rejak the Tracker. That's the guy. Know it is he who has brought you to your knees this day. Now tell me, wench, where have you hidden the gold key, or your death will be a slow and torturous one? Tell me. And she goes, it's in the saddlebag. Now just rest while Rejak relieves you of this. And he goes, and he sticks his hand into the sack, brings it out really, really quickly with a tortured look on his face, grabs his sword and goes, you treacherous Helion. He goes to strike her down, but then he clutches his throat and dies. She grabs his sack of water, drinks up a storm, opens up the sack to reveal that she put the coral snake in the sack. So that is what bit her, or bit him, right? So she goes, and she goes, finished, ended. Finished, ended. The words never sounded sweeter, yet all questions are not yet answered. There's an old mage named Neja. Duncan had said, she can tell you more of the key. Very well, then. To old Neja, then, and to answers not yet questioned. Alec lives. And that's the end of the story here. Have a Marvel Christmas. Why not? Try Spider-Man vitamins from Hudson, and I'll send you a free Spider-Man poster. Gotta love that, right? And then, of course, you got some further adventures of Evil Knievel. Right, so there you have it. Issue number 2, Marvel Feature, presents Red Sonja, She-Devil with a Sword. Let us know what you think of this if you've read this one before. If not, it's a cool one to go out and get. All these Red Sonja comics are very, 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 very cool. Lots of fun. And we'll see you real soon here with more stuff here on Comic Book Users. Please subscribe if you haven't already and click on that notification bell so you get alert of all of our content as it posts. And please do hit the like button before you leave. So we'll see you soon here. We got Wild Bill and I coming at you on Wednesday and Friday, and over the weekend we got a whole bunch of videos we've already shot for you guys. So more to come. Till then, I am Pete Pardo. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.